Your favorite pharmacist is here with Kay. How are you doing, girl?
I'm good, sweetie. I'm good. How are you today?
I am doing great. It's so good to see you.
Good to
And
see you too.
as
Looking lovely.
you're looking great as well, you got a little slip dress going on back there. What you got
Well,
going on back
this
there?
this is my little something I wear around the house.
Are we having a little boob contest here?
Well, I didn't put on a bra,
Is
so
this a healthy is this a breast health month? What's going on here? It's not breast health
sure.
month,
Let's
is
do a
it?
breast exam right here on camera right now.
But yeah, I forgot y'all were here. Hey guys, how y'all doing today? Your favorite pharmacist. I really did forget.
Yeah, we're on like right now.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad. I probably have to edit that part out. But hey, I'm your favorite pharmacist. I'm with my girl Kay, and we are here to add value to your life. With trending topics and health and just whatever we can do to add value to your life, dealing with health and entertainment. Today we are talking about, and I'm gonna let you say it, Kay, because I'm gonna just mess it up. So, what are we talking about today? It is a serious topic, so I do need to calm it down, change my energy. I had a lot of technical issues as usual, and Kay is always so patient with me. So I'm a little hype off of that and the Coke Zero I just had with caffeine. So what are we talking about today,
First of all,
Kay?
why are you drinking caffeine this late at night? I just need to understand.
Girl, okay, because I ain't doing nothing else. That's why.
Okay. Okay, then. Never mind. My bad. I'm going to stay in
But
my
you,
lane over here.
but
Okay.
you're right. That's one of the things, with health. Like a lot of times we do have sleeping issues, and that was a great point. I do have sleeping issues. Like last night, I stayed up to literally 7:30 in the morning. I could not sleep.
Ma'am.
I have like a 5-minute window, and then if I push it to watch TikTok or something or YouTube, and then it's a
You
wrap.
can't fall down the rabbit hole for TikTok. It just sucks you in. You just
Girl,
video after video after video.
it
And
is a person with ADD. It's like it's a gift and a curse because it's always moving, it's always changing topics, but I guess they have the algorithm to kind of know what you like.
Right. Is yours on autoplay and it just goes to the next video automatically? Or do you have to swipe it up?
Oh, I probably have to swipe. I mean, but they do in a way that you have to, right?
Right. Well, see, mine will just play the same video over and over again if I don't move it.
Oh, that is
true. My
true.
girlfriend said that hers doesn't do that. Hers just goes to the next video. And I'm like, I went to my settings and I couldn't find that.
Yeah, I don't think that's. Yeah, I think you're right. I think TikTok only allows when it'll go over and over. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good point. You always
We'll figure it out later. We'll figure it out.
Oh, not right now. Okay, I'm sorry.
We're gonna focus. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have sent you down the rabbit hole. See, I got you off. That's my bad. Okay, let's go back to the topic at hand for today.
Yeah, I mean, if this was 8 p.m., then you probably would let me done it. But since it's getting late, then you're like, girl, stop. But yeah, so today, what are we talking about now?
We're talking about does racism affect your health?
Right. So does racism affect your health? Leave in the comments below. What do y'all think? Whenever you watch a replay, what do y'all feel about that? Do y'all think racism actually affects your health, or is this something that minorities say to kind of just one more thing to complain about? What do you think about that? Okay, I mean, how do you feel?
I think that on the rare occasion you do have where someone is using racism as a scapegoat, but I think for the most part, it is definitely a detriment to your health. And it's not just in genetics, because that's part of it. Because racism definitely plays a part in the genetics of, as I would say, as far as people of color, or mostly Black people, we have high blood pressure is one of those things that we're predisposed to because of the eating habits we were forced to have as slaves. So it's kind of in the blood at this point. And we still have some of those same bad eating habits.
Right.
So, cause we, good luck on getting that pork out of our hands.
Right. I mean, I'm sorry. I love some chitlins. I know you're not into chitterlings, right?
I've still never eaten them.
You never had a chitterling? I
No.
it, on the big red container box it says chitterlings, but chitlings or
We call it
shitlings.
chitlins or
Yeah,
chitlins.
yeah, shitlings. But you never had it in your whole life.
No, the close I've come close. Well, the closest I've come was one, them smelly ass ones you heated up in my microwave once upon a time. So I'm like, ooh, they don't
Hmm.
stink. But as soon as you heated them motherfuckers up, oh my god, my kitchen. Okay, so then
Girl.
I was with my in laws and we were waiting on my mother in law to finish getting Thanksgiving dinner together, and she was
Hmm.
taking her sweet time, and so no one had eaten. But someone had made chitlins. I didn't know that's what it was because I literally could not smell anything. And I
Okay.
kept watching people walk around with bowls of what looked like rice with stewed chicken on top and gravy.
Mm-mm.
And it was
Ooh
looking so good.
wee.
I was trying to hold out and I finally was like, you know what, dang it, I'm going to get me a bowl. So
Right.
I fixed a bowl of rice. And as I was ladling some chitlins on top of it, someone says,
Hmm.
I thought you didn't eat chitlins. I was like, I don't. They were like, well, what you think is in that pot?
No, they
I'm like,
didn't.
somebody want this rice, damn it. I was
Oh
pissed. Yeah.
man.
I came real close to getting a mouthful.
And you didn't smell it?
Couldn't smell anything.
Oh, who cooked those? They
I
did. They
have no
did.
idea.
They did too good of a job. I like my chitlins with a little bit of shit, a little bit of
You want
shit.
a little smelly? You want a
Just
little
a little
smelly? You
shit.
want a little shit in it?
Yeah, just
Okay.
to make it right. Honey,
Just a little seasoning.
okay. Girl, that shit is the seasoning.
A
I
little
mean,
something,
girl,
something on the end.
the love of my life, Phil. Oh my gosh. I did not want to break up with him for one reason, but the other reason was because his mom made the best chitlins with rice, and I don't eat peas, but she had peas on it, and it was amazing. And I was like, "Oh man, I hate to have
Yeah,
to
that's
let
some
this."
same shitlins you bought to my place. That
Oh,
yeah,
girl,
yeah.
oh my gosh, them chitlins. I mean, I really stuck that out as long as I could because those chitlins were
I'm mad you stuck
amazing.
out the relationship longer for the chitlins. I mean,
They were so good.
I
And
remember you coming and I mean to my little 1 bedroom condo and funking up the whole place with them damn chitlins. I was like, dude. Okay,
Girl, they were so good. I'm glad you didn't want none, honey, because them things
okay. So
were
yeah, you
glorious.
were safe. They were safe. Okay, very safe. So refocusing back on the topic ahead.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
uh,
I'm very ADD tonight. But
that's
yeah, with like you're saying with the eating habits because from the slavery we only could eat the chitterlings or the pig's feet or the hog maw or whatever because that were the
the
scraps
scrap.
that were thrown and we as minority as we do as black women as black people we make lemon into lemonade so to now in this it became a tradition because when we came to the United States, well, to America, we didn't, we came from different parts of Africa. We didn't have a language. They took our language, they took the religion, they took everything. So that was a part of our celebration, a part of the culture. And that's why it's passed down to now that I still love chitterlings. I still love
We're
a
gonna
pig
stop
feet.
saying chitterlings, okay? Chitlins. They chitlins,
Chitlings.
damn it.
I still
Chitlins.
love a pig feet, but like you're
You eat pig
saying,
feet too?
yes, a pickle. I don't want just a braised. Someone talk about some braised. Chinese people eat braised pig feet because I was saying it with this Chinese guy, and I was thought I was just saying something to him. He's like, "Oh yeah, it's really good braised." I don't really know what that means. What does braised mean? I don't know, but I only want my pig feet pickled. I just want to pick. I love hog maw. I love all of that. Yes. I don't know what part of the country you from. Uh, Anyway,
Give me my
yes.
bacon and my pork chops
Oh God, I'll be so great right about
and my
that.
sausage, and I'm good.
Right.
Okay, so and it goes beyond the food, of course. It goes
Hmm.
along with the stress.
Well, I mean,
This,
well, like you said, the food is like in our system, and
right,
so that's the generation of passing on that bad
bad habits.
health habits, and if your mom's pregnant or she's been eating the chitlins and this and that, of course, it's gonna get into the bait, So it's just like you're saying, this a pass down. And what else you said?
I said stress. Stress is
Mm,
another part of the effects that racism has on Black people that shortens our life expectancy,
yes.
and it weighs on you mentally and physically every single day.
Yes, it does. I mean, I
And
know, like, starting off with, I got a, first of all, I went to college in Charleston, South Carolina. So that, that is racism central. That's where that guy, I can't remember his name, killed all of
Dylan
the,
Ruth,
yeah,
killed the 9 people in the church, in the
yes,
historical black church. Yes, that one.
is exactly him. And,
They
they took,
arrested him, and then they went and got him some Burger King because he was
yeah,
hungry.
exactly.
Yeah.
After, just, polishing off like a whole nine parishioners, killing, parishioners. So it's just,
While
you
they
know,
pray.
exactly after they prayed with him. And, so I went to school, pharmacy school there. And I just say that to say when it came to racism, especially when you at a point where you're trying to get the same kind of degree that was going to make a certain amount of money, it was, I have no words. It was a
Yeah,
lot
I
to
imagine
deal
it's a
with.
lot just in general being in your field because I don't see a whole lot of black pharmacists, period. But I definitely don't see a whole lot of female black pharmacists.
Oh, really? I think it's
So
more than
I'm
men, but yeah,
seeing
you're
more
right.
now than I've
Mm-hmm.
seen, maybe 10 years prior,
Yes.
but it's still not the norm.
Yes.
I'm,
It
I'm
was
thinking, when I say I've seen more, I think I've seen three,
in your whole life? Really?
and you're one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Pharmacists,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I
I've
guess
seen
that's a.
plenty of black pharmacist assistants or
Mm-hmm.
techs or whatever in there. But as far as the actual pharmacists, it's been less than five.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, yeah. I mean, I guess of course I see more because I do it every day. So you don't have to go to the pharmacy all the time, which is a good thing. But
Right.
the racism, just to see how the professors would let the white students, this white girl, her cat was sick, so she got to miss an exam, and we can like have the flu or something. And they're like, well, if you don't make it, you're gonna get a zero. It was just like our class did like a big Confederate quilt. Like all of the girls got together, they all sewed up a quilt together to give away as a raffle, gift. It was just
It's
amazing.
such a slap in your face. Like,
I mean, in your face. It's this girl, and it was just like four of us in a class, big old pharmacy. It was just, girl, it was just amazing, so just that kind of stress. And then go into the workforce. And I'm just giving, part of my story, to deal with like, you making the same, you would think the same money as your white counterparts, but they have an issue. They know you went through the school. They should understand as a black person, you got to go through so much more crap to get to what it got to. But it's like they had an issue with you making the same kind of money. They're always downplaying you. When I first started at Walgreens, I was so proud of myself and happy, da 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 da. And then they try to say I was doing phone sex and stuff, just disrespected. I never told you that story, but
it sounds vaguely familiar.
yeah, that was just very traumatizing. And a lot of times racism is just not unfortunately, from your white counterparts. A lot of times you have a raccoon in every, it was
Oh, yeah.
a white person started the investigation, but they used the black man to try to fire me, with that, instead of doing a full investigation like I know they would have with a white woman because they know they didn't want no smoke and no liabilities or whatever. They didn't even do any investigations. They just assumed it was me, had me set up for a firing. And so from then on, I'm always skittish that I can be fired at any point in time. Even when I'm doing my job, even when I'm not even thinking about anything, I'm just la 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 la, enjoying my life at work, and that just totally changed my whole perception as a professional. Like I'll have my, and
Did
I'm
they
just,
find who actually did it?
oh yeah. Honey, they found out who did it, which wasn't hard because when I told them I didn't, they had to, and then they, of course, they thought I was lying. So to prove me wrong, they went through the records and find out easily who done it. And what I'll never forget, when I told my district manager, well, actually I had to help them out. I was like, well, such and such actually worked for me that night. So that's why, and it was like a month later.
Was it a
such
man or a woman?
It was a woman, a man. I know, because that's what men. I hate to say, men do crazy stuff like that. It was. I used to work night shift.
Was he white or black?
It was white, of course.
Okay. Well, I mean, we need to establish. You're
okay,
telling the story,
I
but
know.
you're not. You're telling it to someone who pretty much knows it. But you need to, if you're going to do it on here.
Gotcha. I got you. I'm so traumatized. I'm just kind of like running it because it's that really does kind of change the whole trajectory of my professionalism and career. But yeah, he was a white.
It's so weird to accuse, to automatically assume that any female at that, was the one to do the phone sex.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, and you assumed it was me?
Right. And then they did it in such a humiliating way. They had me leave the premises of my job. They lied to me the day before, said they had this opportunity for me and to meet them at a local McDonald's. And I had like a good, amount of people that respected me. We got along. They would come to me. So I went to this McDonald's after a 10-hour shift. I went to the McDonald's. All the people are there. I'm like, hey, how you doing? They, I sat down. They lied to me. They slung paperwork. This time you made this call and this is how much money you did. And I'm like, just got, night shift. So I am.
Yeah, you're frazzled.
Yeah,
and I know how you are when you get off. You're ready to go to bed. You're ready to go take that bra off and go home.
When I used to wear a bra, right? Not to make that a mistake no more. But so it just trashed me. So when he found out who did it, because I actually was like,
back up. What did you say in that moment?
I hate to say, I was so, like I said, I was a new person, and I was so tired. And I was sick too. No, I was off because I was sick. But anyway, besides the point, I was confused. I was thinking, do I have a split personality? I didn't really say anything because I was so confused. And then I had already worked like 7, because we would work like 70 hours, 72 hours on, a week off. So I'd already done my whole work week, so that, they get all the work out of you so it could be a smooth transition and they won't have to find coverage, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I was just like, okay. And he was like, you need to sign here, sign there. And
did you sign?
No, I don't recall signing, but I was just like, okay, we'll talk later. I was like, I just don't think I did that. I didn't say I didn't do it. I could not process it. I just totally.
But you didn't deny it in that moment because
I did not deny it.
You couldn't figure out what the hell was going on.
Because I had 2 people slinging paperwork, business suits on. I'm in McDonald's now, rush hour. This is like 8:15 in the morning. Rush hour at McDonald's across the street from a college campus. So all of the professors, everyone who knew me, so everyone's like looking. So I was just like, humiliated me, totally demolished me. And so I'll never forget when I came home and took a shower, got my, I can't do nothing without my shower, got my bearings. I was like, I said, because it was a month when the sex calls happened, a month late, before. I said, I think I called in one day. I said, I'm pretty sure it's that day. Looked in my calendar. Sure enough, this guy worked for me. I called my district manager, the big manager. She was at the store going through records, to prove me wrong, right? I said, you know what? So-and-so, I said, such and such actually worked that night for me. I didn't do that. He did that. You know what she said to me? She said, oh no, I like such and such.
Bitch.
I like such and such. Yeah. And actually, as I was supposed to work that night. So they already I was supposed to be fired now. So I came into work that night. I didn't know I was actually fired until a pharmacist called me. He was like, so what's going on? I heard the pharmacist was fired. I was supposed to work, but, they had me not working again. So what happened to her? I was like, they already had it sewn. No, they had it sewn up. So as time went on, my district managers, they always wondered why I would close in. I would, wasn't really personable because I'm very bubbly. And they were like, Letitia, what's wrong? Da, 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 da. And that was because of that racism. And that was nothing but straight racism, because after that, he was not fired. And actually he wanted.
But you were fired.
Oh yeah.
Okay. He wasn't fired.
No, and actually he wanted to explore another area like Raleigh where he possibly wanted to work. So they arranged
to transfer.
Yeah, but he wasn't sure though. So they paid for him for a nice Marriott hotel for him and his lover, his husband and his child, for them to take a little vacation to see if he really wanted to move to Raleigh or not. I mean, and I didn't want him fired. I like the guy too, just like my district manager said.
But I like him too. No. So you didn't want him fired, but they were ready to fire you for it.
Oh yeah, I was gone. I was gone. Yeah, I was gone. Yeah. And then after all of that, I wanted a letter of apology. I wanted, I went through. I called a law office. I called the EEOC. All of that, and they're like, we really don't think you have a case. I was just but Walgreens would not apologize to me. They refused to apologize. They refused to acknowledge it. It was this girl. And, so from then on, that just kind of made me
sour taste in your mouth. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was very skittish. I was like a cat that had hot grease thrown on, from the second floor. I was very skittish because at any point in time, my livelihood could be gone off of some foolishness. And if I can't defend myself 1000% with some kind of documentation, like if it was just a he say, she say, I would have been gone. I wouldn't have gotten that privilege. Okay. But
right. And then your career would have been over with.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's, so that race is, so from there, I'm at work. I'm always stressed. You just never know. You just never know. And then pharmacy is already a little dicey field anyway, especially now at this point, with there's not, not a shortage anymore. So girl, yeah, that racism, and stress and stuff like that, it's for real. And like I said, it doesn't
that's clearly still affecting you. And that was almost 20 years ago.
Right. And I hate to say, it kind of ruined my relationship with my husband at the time, because I felt like he didn't defend, my honor, because he worked there as well. So like other managers and stuff, they were really, but he acted like he was a little hands off of it. And, so I kind of, so that was a whole trajectory where I just kind of lost respect for the marriage. And, because a man's supposed to cover his wife or whatever. And to me, that was very traumatizing. And he just was like,
what you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I don't know what he could have done, but I just felt like I was so alone in that, and I just was stressed. Okay. And so that, so that ruined my, relationship. I mean, I was probably going down the tubes anyway, because I was crazy, but so yeah. So that racism and affecting your health and stuff like that. I mean, to this day, 20 years later, I'm still traumatized from that. Totally traumatized.
You still have anxiety on the job.
Yeah.
And, there's you don't feel any real job security.
Yeah. Oh, never. Oh, no. Ever. I've never, from that point of, like I said, I was a little happy little, pharmacist. And then now, like you said, I always feel like I can get fired at any point. For 20 years, I felt zero job security because they were so quick to get rid of me. And to see how they did not do that for the other guy who actually did it, that really showed how expendable I was and how quickly they were willing to take away my livelihood, So after all that crap of pharmacy school, I had to deal with that, it was just crazy, girl. It was just crazy. So, but yes. Yeah, racism and health. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to ramble on, but that's how traumatic it was.
But that's a perfect example of how our trauma based on racism can affect our mental and our physical health.
Right. And it's crazy how they will use other Black people as pawns to kind of buffer it where it doesn't, to make it insidious. And that's the thing about racism and in a corporate America and everything. It's not like that blazing, you the N word or da, 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 da. It's so insidious. It's so undercurrent, and that by itself would drive. See, I'm the type of
and
person.
The microaggressions, and a lot of people think, oh, you're not racist if you don't use the N word.
Mm-hmm.
And some people even think, oh, if I use it with the A versus the hard ER, I'm not racist. It's so much more than the N word.
Did you see that? Did you see that viral video of a teacher?
Yes.
Girl,
I saw her where first of all, I couldn't understand why she felt the need to have that conversation with students. It's bad enough if she felt comfortable having that conversation with her girlfriends. But why are you sitting in front of a classroom? First of all, you're an art teacher.
And then she doubling down on it, honey.
Right.
I wish I had that video.
And
but
so
yes.
You felt it was okay to ask these students, when is it okay for you to say it? Why? First of all, answer, please, if you know the answer, can you please tell me why white people feel the need to say it? Why, those that claim not to be racist, why do they feel like they have the right to say it? And why are y'all telling us I can't say this word? Why do you want to say it?
That's just like me saying,
what do you gain I'm not from that.
That's just like us saying, I'm not gay or lesbian or anything, but that's just like me saying I want to drop the F word. It's like I'm not even in that mind, and I know if it's offensive, so it's not even a part of my mindset.
But a gay person may use that word very freely, but that doesn't mean that I should feel like I should be able to use it just because they use it. If they feel comfortable using that word, or they're laughing, making jokes about it or whatever, then that's on them. But I don't feel like it's okay for me to start throwing that word around. The word is offensive. Why do I want it in my vocabulary?
And it's just being evil. It's just the bottom line. They want, especially with this teacher, she knows after all this foolishness going on, with, everything with Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Racism is put on notice. It's no, kiki, and no, you didn't really know this, or you didn't really hear that, or it was a joke. No, it's on full display. We know for a fact there's no playing around. There is a hardcore racism in America. And so why, after all of that, why was yes, why would she want to go? She wanted to be viral. Obviously, she knows nothing is going to happen.
Because she couldn't have possibly thought that somebody wasn't recording it. At this day, in this day and age, you have to just assume everybody's got their camera phone pointed at you at any given time. The moment you step out of line, somebody starts recording. So she clearly said something prior to that for someone to turn their camera on.
There you go.
And she kept going.
Exactly.
And this is off subject a little bit, but it burns me to the damn like, why are people still cutting up on airplanes about the mask? First of all, you're going viral because someone's recording.
Exactly.
But why are you acting surprised that
people want attention?
You got to wear your mask? Why did you even go to the airport if you didn't want to wear the mask? That's what they're doing. So either go with the flow, suffer through it for a little bit, or don't go.
I wonder if they
now you're getting arrested. Now you're on a no-fly list. Now you've wasted your money. You get no refunds. What did you gain by acting an ass on the plane?
Do you think they have this conversation beforehand? Do you think they're walking around like, they better not say nothing about this mask? Because you think you think they have?
Some of them do. Yeah, because some of them even pull out their phones and start recording as if they're trying to make a point.
It's like when you have that kind of power in general. I don't know. As a minority group, we never had that kind of. First of all, I'm not a jerk like that, but I just don't understand that mindset
but
where
we in general are not that brazen. That's just not who we are.
And then and we already have the stress on us. That shield, that blanket of stress. See, they don't have that. So they do. That's why they go on Mount Everest and and go in a cage with the lions, because
they gotta do skydiving and we gotta go play with alligators and shit because they need some adventure. Our adventure is walking out the fucking house, and now you don't even have to leave your house. They can shoot you in your bed. So
exactly.
We're not thrill seekers because it's a thriller. We made it home.
Can you imagine that poor guy who was with Breonna Taylor? Can you imagine how he feels? He can't even lay in his bed in a sound sleep.
I'm sure he's got PTSD.
Oh God. I mean,
And just being Black in general, I think we all walk around with some form of it, some form of PTSD.
And then they put him in jail too.
They arrested him, but they had to drop all those charges against him.
But it was a period of time. There was a period of time that they weren't. You
right.
know, it's so
they tried to make it stick because they were trying to cover their own asses. And the only officer that was charged with anything was the one that the shots that didn't hit Brianna. You know, the shots that went into the neighbor's apartment because, oh my God, you could have hurt somebody else. But no charges for the bullets that did kill the woman in her bed.
I just don't understand how people deal with that kind of injustice. You know, just like
that's part of the trauma. That's part of the trauma that we all go through when, you know, the stress and anxiety, depression, all this is caused by the daily racism that we face. I think we face even more of those same symptoms based on what goes on with other people. So when we see all that stuff on the news, that's traumatizing to us and over and over again because we know that could have just as easily have been us.
I mean, especially having sons. I mean, you know, Breonna Taylor, of course, was a woman, and you know, I have a daughter, and she's away, and God only, you know, you never know. But having a son, you know, especially, you know, because
I don't have nothing but boys.
Exactly. You know, I just cannot imagine just.
Let me tell you a story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so even in a crisis, I can keep a clear head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was in Kentucky visiting my in-laws. This is when Tyler stayed there for a year, and so I was visiting Tyler, and I'm sorry, you know, I try not to say my kids' names, but online, but whatever. Okay, so then Brendan calls me and tells me he can't get in touch with my husband nor my oldest, and now this is my oldest first time. This was his first week driving unaccompanied. So I was already a nervous wreck because he could be a little skittish behind the wheel. So I'm already a little nervous about that. And now you can't get in touch with either one of them. So, you know, I start calling. I'm getting the same thing. I'm getting thrown in the voicemail. Like both of their phones are off. And for my husband, that wasn't that big of a surprise because he doesn't keep up on whether or not he's got 2% or 98% on his phone. He just doesn't care. Okay, so, but for my son, that was weird.
Okay.
So I'm steady calls. So I'm like, okay, if I don't hear from them in the next 30 minutes, I'm gonna hit the road and head back because Brendan was really getting nervous, you know, whatever. So I'm online hoping, and this is the sad part, hoping that it was a car accident versus a run-in with the cops. So I'm online literally searching for officer-involved shootings in Charlotte.
So
and,
sad.
you know, I'm like, please just let him be in the hospital. Please don't let him, him having to be pulled over by a cop. Please say he wasn't pulled over by a cop. That's what I'm fearing. So that built my anxiety. And I was finally like, fuck it, I'm getting on the road. And just before I'm packing myself, my father-in-law's like, you haven't had any sleep. You don't need to be getting on that road. I'm like, I promise you, I'm not going to fall asleep tonight.
Right.
So I'm about to get on this road. So I literally had gotten my stuff together and then my son calls me. And I first started crying immediately as soon as I saw his number pop up and heard his voice. Because even when I saw the number, I wasn't sure it was him. Could have been the police. So I start crying. And then as like 5 seconds after I started crying, I got angry. Where the fuck have you been? Why have you been?
Boy, girl, what?
You know? And he was in some type of seminar or whatever. And so he had cut his phone off. Now, his dad was with him. Because it was way across town, he had asked his dad to follow him out there because, you know, he hadn't driven that far by himself yet. So he had asked his dad to follow him out there and, And his phone was dead because, of course, he didn't charge it. And so that's why I couldn't get in touch with either one of them, but they were now on their way home. But when I tell you, I cussed I was hot
I can't.
because
I mean,
I
and how long
went
you had to wait? You
there.
said 30 minutes?
No, it was by the time he called,
Mm-hmm.
uh, from probably from the beginning to the end, it was about an hour or so.
You had to. You was in limbo for an hour.
I was in limbo for an hour. I was
So
online. I called maybe 20 times, you know, hoping somebody is charging their phone and finally it'll kick in. That
right.
didn't happen. And then I just started doing the online searches. When I couldn't find anything, I don't know if I should feel relieved or if I just need to wait longer for it to show up online, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And I just can't find anything. I'm like on WSOCTV.com. I'm
Yeah.
on WBTV.com. I'm on every
Mm-hmm.
website trying to find something. I'm Googling. And then I finally gave up and I put my stuff, I packed my bag
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, I got the call. But it was traumatizing.
Yes.
Just, you know, that worry. I worry about the youngest because he has a sporty car. I didn't want him to get the Audi because I'm like, that's going to draw too much attention. You know, they're going to pull you over. You're going to get pulled over. That's my thought. It doesn't matter if you're following the law. All you need is a tail light to be out and you don't know it's
That's it.
out and they pull
Right.
you over and they find some reason to think you reach for something. And you know, you definitely have to sit and go over those rules of
Right.
where to keep their hands at all times and, you
Right.
know, not to reach for anything, to speak respectfully, no matter what that cop says to you. Do not lose your cool because your job is to come home. You
Right.
know, that is traumatizing to have that conversation. It's
Right.
traumatizing because you don't want to make them too afraid, but you don't want to not prepare them at the same time. It is stressful and it causes anxiety on both ends. You know,
Mm.
how are they supposed to relax? How are they supposed to trust the law? Now, me personally, I haven't really had bad run-ins with the law.
Mm-hmm.
I've been pulled over plenty of times.
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, I've been pulled
Right.
over for speeding. Now, I did have one cop that yelled at me.
Why?
Actually, I had two that yelled at me. One was a black woman, actually, and the black woman yelled
I
at
don't like
me
dealing. I
because,
don't like women cops. I mean, because you
man,
can't flirt, you
she.
can't do nothing. You just like take it, like.
Well, this is the thing. It was she when she pulled me over.
Mm-hmm.
When she put her lights on, I was on a back road, and there's no place to pull over to the side without messing up traffic. So I put
Yeah.
on my blinkers to acknowledge her, as we were told to do, and
Right.
pull into a well lit area. Now I
Mm-hmm.
pulled into maybe a quarter mile down the road. I turned into a golf course,
Mm-hmm.
and she was angry because I didn't pull over the minute she turned the lights on. And I said, I did that for you, not for me. I said, if I pulled over, where were you going to get out at? You're going to have to walk out into the street. I pulled over into this parking lot so you can get out. I'm not getting out the car, you know. But
Right.
you know, I was extremely upset then.
Mm-hmm.
She apologized and was like, okay, calm down, calm down, calm down,
Right.
because I was crying because I was so
Mm-hmm.
upset that she came at me barking at me, and I'm like, are you
Right.
kidding me? And so then there was a white officer that started yelling at me, and I started crying immediately
Why was he
because
yelling?
he was yelling. I was already frustrated because
Mm-hmm.
someone was on the phone giving me directions and they were giving horrible directions.
Uh-huh.
And apparently, because I was so distracted, I missed where I went to a turning light, but
Mm-hmm.
apparently the turning lane was closed off and I didn't realize that. And I
Mm-hmm.
made a left turn where they had blocked off the turning lane. And
Okay.
so I was just basically trying to U-turn, but I went down, I made a left turn and then I came back up that street and came back out to the main road. There were cops standing on the side for some odd reason. And this cop came running across the street barking at me. Mind you, I had just gotten a speeding ticket 10 minutes prior. Because of the same fool on the phone, I missed the speed limit change
Right.
because the same fool was giving me bad directions. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm already frustrated. And then I get pulled over again and he's pull over. He's yelling at me and everything. Give me your driver's license right there. I'm like, shit, they right here because I just used them. So I'm handing it to him. He's steady barking at me. And I'm like, I'm lost. You're like, okay, calm down, calm.
I mean, that's stressful to be lost in his semi. Like, oh man, come on.
Yeah, but overall, I can't say I've had a racist experience with
Mm-hmm.
cops. So, but that doesn't, my fear isn't really for me on the road. I feel like I got a pretty good chance of walking away with no problems. My
Mm-hmm.
fear is for my husband and for my children. I remember
Right.
when my husband got pulled over, he and the oldest were in the truck, And you know, I have daytime running lights in my truck, but he hadn't turned his lights on,
Okay.
and it was starting to get dark, but it wasn't dark yet.
Yeah.
So, cop pulled him over. So, you know, he pulled over, but like, again, daytime running lights, the lights are on, they're just not on. Okay.
Right.
So he pulls over, and you know, Boo was sitting in the on the passenger side in the back, and they pull up on the one cop pulls up and you know was talking to my husband, and he caught sight of another cop with his weapon pulling up on the side where my child is. And he made mention of that to the cop. He was like, my son is back there. Why is your boy coming up on the side like that?
Okay.
We pulling me over for my lights. So he ended up not getting ticketed and they let him go. But it was just like, you know, that's trauma.
Right. I mean,
just that easily, if you reaching for your gun or you've already unholstered your gun, you're prepared to shoot.
Yeah.
For what? Why is your gun out? Why is your hand anywhere near your gun?
I mean, my thing is like, if you're gonna be a police officer, you can't be a punk. That's, I mean, I get it. You want to go home, but
we all do.
Yes, we all do. But a lot of these police officers, first of all, I think they should. They don't have any emotional intelligence. Number one, I mean, and a lot of people in the workplace, like I have very low emotional intelligence, but because of my job, is regulated by the state, by the national, and the structure, and is clear consequences if I should do X. So if I give horrible customer service or it's going to be consequences.
You mess up a prescription, you know, there's consequences. You don't get the oops a prescription.
Right.
You know?
Right. So, but just like an airplane,
I shot somebody.
You know, it's like a pilot. They can't, you know, always be in a position where they, you know, like crashing planes, you know. So yeah. I think with police officers, I think they should scrap the whole system because, you know, the police, you know, however that, you know, whatever the profession is, you know, it started from slave catchers. So it's this, you know, generation of this passing on a profession. They need to scrap the way it is now. They need to make it a national. I'm not sure how the setup is to be a police officer, but it seems like they need to do it like they do. I mean, when you are a police officer, you need
6 months or 6 week training, and they're supposed to have some bias training in there and diversity training and stuff like that. But the thing is, if you're recruiting and you're not truly vetting the people that you are recruiting, you know, there've been like I forget this guy's name, but he was a grand wizard or imperial wizard, which means you're over the whole state,
right?
And he was also a police officer. You know,
and what you think is gonna happen,
right? So, you know, and he's not one in a million. You know, that's pretty much the norm. You know, there's a lot of whereas everybody likes to say, oh, you need more training, you need more diversity training. No, you don't have to train them not to shoot white people.
I mean, and I don't think I think it's past a vetting. I think they should scrap it. I think they should have the mental aptitude and emotional intelligence of an emergency room doctor, because they have to make quick decisions that is between life and death for themselves. They need to scrap the whole system. They need to make it a national. They need to raise the standards, because a lot of times, you know, you have a high school diploma. Not everyone can do well with just a high school diploma.
That's what I was going to say. They need higher education.
They need to
go beyond high school. You can't get in there with a high school or GED. I mean, come on.
No, because
I'm gonna need you to be smarter than that.
Because you're making life and this death decision in a split second. In a lot of cases, like an emergency room doctor, they should have at least a 2-year degree. At least they should go through some kind, you know, just like you know, with being a pharmacist, a doctor, whatever. Like I said, I see that they should be on the same playing field as an emergency room doctor, because you have to make quick decisions. Okay, I mean, so the whole thing needs to be scrapped. And so it can't be this good old boy system. It can't be this buddy system. It can't be this, like if I were to
There's more training required to do hair than there is to carry a gun and police people. There's more. I mean, come on. A barber has to go to school longer than a doggone police officer.
I mean, because if I were to do something and hurt someone in a pharmacy or something, I can't just shut it down and hop over, because I have a North Carolina and a South Carolina license. I just can't hop to the next city or something. No, you have to go to a regulatory board with your state. You have to answer to them. You are suspended. You have to do all this answering to it. And it's a national level to it too. So it's just all this little clusters of no regulation. They need to make it streamlined. They need to raise up the education, because it's all these people is all these men, and then there's a bunch of men too. So it's all the rah, but and there's really few women to kind of even it out, but it's a lot of.
If they raise the education level, that would weed out a lot of the bullshit.
It would because.
And I believe that training should also include critical race theory.
Right.
I think that should be a vital part of their training. They should have to take critical race theory.
Because even with doctors, they can be prejudiced. I mean, a lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of doctors
that goes back into our trauma.
Right. They're gonna, there are some doctors that can be prejudiced, but they see you as a human body and they're gonna treat you. There are a lot of doctors, they gonna see you as a human body and they're not gonna care and they're not gonna treat you properly. But like you were saying, if you raise up that education, a lot of time raising the education kind of cuts out the ignorance of, and a lot of times these guys, they go into being a police officer because they want that automatic respect. They want that automatic standing in society. So if you want that, you need to, just like a doctor, you just can't go and be a doctor and automatic, say I'm a doctor and I have, a standing in society. No, you have to hustle and get it and you earn it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate police officers. I know that I had to call them before and I've been, whatever. But, it's just, as a mother like you with boys, I cannot imagine. You have to be pristine and perfect so nothing can go wrong. And they're punks. They're scared. They are scared. Why are you scared?
And you got the gun. You got a gun. You know what I'm saying?
I know I can be a police officer because I'm paranoid.
My gun, I feel a whole lot safer than I do when I don't have it. So I feel a certain level of protection,
right?
Automatically. Don't get me wrong. That doesn't mean I'll be able to get mine out before they get theirs out. But I feel a certain level of security knowing that I took the extra step to protect myself.
But they don't know who, what. So I get it. But if you are skittish, don't be a police officer. But you want that automatic stand in society. You want that automatic respect. And then, like I said, there's no accountability. You can shoot somebody or, do racist stuff and then hop over and get another job. You don't lose your pension. There's no account. There's no consequences. Like, really?
Before they shoot somebody, usually they have harassment cases and excessive violence, excessive force complaints against them, and nothing is done. And then after they shoot somebody, most times they get away with it scot-free, no penalties, no anything. So hell, they can't even get an indictment. They damn sure don't get a conviction. So, they're back on the force. They get promotions and all other kind of foolishness. So what's the incentive for them to do better? And then if they leave, they can just go somewhere else and pick up right where they left off.
Right. And not lost a dime. And they have like police unions and stuff. It seems like they have money in the state or whatever in place for if something goes wrong, like if a civil lawsuit should come up or whatever, but they don't skip a beat, but they have money. So instead of having money in place in case they kill somebody.
Unions are the business. The police union is sick. Them mofos be on it. They protect their people.
Yes, and that needs to go. You have police unions, whatever, but they need to raise up that standard. But everyone's their friends, everyone, the politicians, everyone wants to keep the way it is. They like it the way it is because they
They
don't
don't
have to
want
deal
to
with
change the
it.
status quo.
They
Want
don't.
to change the
They
status quo.
don't. They really don't. It's ridiculous. But
But the racism digs very, very deep. It definitely goes way deeper than, you know, the police or when you got to go into the systemic racism. Like you go back, like things that I hear on a regular basis grate my nerve. One is the Star Spangled Banner, but that's a whole nother matter. But one thing I hear on a regular basis when they start talking about our founding fathers, and George Washington was such a great president, and Thomas Jefferson, they were all slave owners. Okay, even Benjamin Franklin owned a few slaves, and he wasn't a president, but he was a founding father. So, like, I think about 80 to 90% of the founding fathers, it were 50 some odd founding fathers, 40 some odd of them owned slaves. You know, these are our founding fathers, and these are the same people that said all men are created equal, which they clearly did not believe.
No, I mean, they do believe it. They weren't talking about us.
Right.
Oh, they do believe it. They do believe it.
They believe we counted as human beings.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't
for
us.
Property. We were chattel. So yeah,
that wasn't for us.
They didn't. Yeah, that part. And I'm sitting there going, we keep talking about how great they were, how great they were. I think George Washington probably owned more slaves than all of them. He had hundreds of slaves. And Thomas Jefferson owned slaves and kept Sally Hemings in the closet. Did you know Sally Hemings, the slave that he kept, the little young girl he kept in that closet behind his bedroom, was his wife's sister?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, so Jefferson's wife, her father owned slaves.
Oh, okay.
And he raped one of his slaves and produced her a sister, you know, a mulatto sister, and then gifted her to Jefferson. And then Jefferson, she became Jefferson's concubine and stayed in a small room from the time she was like 12 or 14 and birthed probably 5 or 6 of his kids.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, was it Jefferson that? No, Washington freed his slaves when he died. Oh, but he was gonna have slaves till the day he died. Please understand.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's not trying to stress. He's not trying to stress.
Y'all free now. Y'all can be free now. Now I don't need you no more. But you know,
he gonna stay good.
But okay, but I need y'all to stick around till I'm done. It's so deep rooted in everything, and everybody wants to glaze past it and act, oh well, it's this, that, and the other. It's in the past. It's in the past. It's in the past. We're still living part of this.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, we're still living with that fear of that slave catcher. We're still living with the remnants of what was done to us, and the fact that we weren't valued as people, or you know, clearly because all men are created equal, and we weren't considered people.
No, at all. That wasn't even in their mindset at all.
Right. And so then when they want to sing this Star Spangled Banner, to me, these things are traumatizing over and over again. You know, talking about the founding fathers as if they were so great, and the greatest president was Abraham Lincoln. Well, yeah, Abraham Lincoln emancipated the slaves, but it didn't. He still believed that we were inferior people.
Yeah, I mean, that was just
a business move. And he only did it because he had to.
That was a business move.
It was a business move. It wasn't because he felt so bad for slaves and just thought that this is wrong. No, it was because it gave the South leg up over the North.
Yeah, that was a straight business. That was a straight up business. Yeah. I mean, and the only reason they halfway acknowledged Black people as being people was for the numbers, for the politics of it.
Well, at first, and then when they did that, well, we were 3/5.
Right, exactly.
3/5 compromise. Well, okay, for every 5 of them, we'll count 3 people.
I mean, it's just. I mean, the thing is, a lot of times, if you call it by its name and acknowledge it, then you can, just like in a marriage, if someone cheated on you, that's just like someone cheated on you, and they keep saying, "I didn't do that." Like America will not ever admit, that it was slavery and it's racism. They're not going to admit. They're not going to admit to the redlining and how, because that's, as I was listening to, that's the secret sauce of, of racism and our health being bad. That, the separation of our neighborhoods and stuff. Because if you separate us, then you're going to have the access and the opportunities. That's what makes it.
Access to fresh vegetables changes when you redline. You know what I'm saying? Because as soon as you move white people out of these neighborhoods, or you separate the neighborhoods from white and black, or white and people of color, then the businesses move too.
Right.
The businesses, they're going where the Caucasians are, and then you just get your run of the mill little places that don't have the freshest produce or meats or anything like that, and again, it messes with the health.
Yeah.
And it fucks with you mentally. So there's just no way around the systemic racism in this country. It's going to cause stress. It's going to cause high blood pressure. It's going to cause mental distress and depression and
diabetes,
anxieties and PTSD. And then, and like I was saying, it's direct and it's indirect.
Yeah,
so you feel it from your family members, your friends, associates, and definitely from the news.
Yeah, I mean, and I caught myself going through a little racial depression, and and it was like, man, it was like depressing to seeing how, it's like almost like worthlessness, and that's it's like, like.
I find myself overthinking everything because you never know in your daily life who you're dealing with that's racist, because how we say we code switch based on who we're talking to. They code switch based on who they're talking to. So somebody could be smiling up in your face and spitting in your food before they serve it, or cashier that doesn't like you just because you're black could be ringing something up twice and you don't notice it.
It costs money.
Your doctor, if your doctor doesn't doesn't like black people, let's just say your doctor's a racist undercover or whatever, is he giving me the right diagnosis? Is he, being honest with me about my care? And they already believe that black people don't feel pain the same way white people do.
That's a good point. I'm gonna play this video because because a lot of times they feel that racism is because, you didn't get enough education or you don't have enough money or I'm gonna play this clip, and I'm pretty sure everyone's seen it before. And this is to show how it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Let me start it from again. It doesn't matter like this. So this is a Black physician. She died from COVID last year, if I'm not mistaken. Last year. And she's a physician. She's trying to, she knows the medicine. She knows the scans she needs. She knows all of this. She is trying to tell them how to treat her. And I find myself too, because I had health conditions in the past or whatever, where I had to do a delicate balancing act of, I can't act too smart because they're going to want to challenge me and they can go left. And so I learned, unfortunately, as a Black professional, I had to just sit back and see what they're going to do. And I hate to say, a lot of times, if you can do it right, I manipulate, with, because I know they're not going to respect the fact that I have a knowledge base. So sometimes I have to just kind of run, like a cattle, just kind of, like a dog, run them around, just, and round them up just to get how I need it. And as a, it shouldn't be that way. It should be a working together, a corresponding, responsibility, if I have a professionalism, to work together to get the health care that we need or how I needed it. But, I found myself having to do it. So, with this physician, she's sick, COVID, the pandemic, it was mentally stressful because no one knows what the heck was going on. And so she probably was way too sick. And I don't know if I was in this position, if I would have been smart, not smart enough, but patient enough to play that game like I would have had to do. But, but this is an example probably where she was like, listen, you need to do this and do that. You think they're going to want to hear a Black physician telling them anything? Right. So what are they going to do? They're going to do the opposite. And unfortunately, that may have cost her life. Let me play the video.
Here at IU North, I was in so much pain from my neck. My neck hurt so bad. was crushed. He made me feel like I was a drug addict, and he knew I was a physician. You have to show proof that you have something wrong with you in order for you to get the medicine. I put forward and I maintain, if I was white, I wouldn't have to go through that.
I think for Dr.
Yeah, so this is a woman who went through 8 years minimum of med school, went probably like another 4 some years of residency, just all this education. So that, of course, that's going to put her at a certain economic class. And it didn't matter. She was Black. The hospital and everything was already under strained. And so what do? They not use as opportunity, but they just didn't care. And they probably had a little viciousness with, she was like, in the other videos, she was showing how she was like, I need this kind of scan, or I need this. She was in pain. They didn't even want to give her pain medication. Why not? When you're in pain, that causes more inflammation, more stress. Your body doesn't begin to heal if you under that kind of pain and under that kind of stress. They probably could have given her some pain medication, calm down the pain, let her body relax, and let her body do what it needed to do. They didn't want to do that. There were some other medications they didn't even have to think. If they had just done what she wanted, she could have possibly lived. I mean, who's to say she was going to live or not? That's not for us to say.
You'll never know.
We'll never know. But if they
didn't give her a fighting chance.
And then in other videos, they were sending her home. She was telling them she was not ready to go home. They just went on and sent her home.
That goes back to the whole, we have a higher threshold of pain. We don't feel pain like they feel pain. Like,
yes.
And sadly, to my understanding, that was actually taught in med school.
Oh yeah. I mean, like they do surveys now, and even to this day here, they'll do surveys with healthcare professionals. They still will say that they think Black people have thicker skin, that we have a higher tolerance for pain. This is amazing. This is, and this is not supposed to affect our health. This is, let's talk about the mental part of it. Like I am stuttering all over this live stream. I mean, just to have to think about all of the
different aspects that marginalized communities have to go through just on a daily basis, just the littlest things that add up to more and more stress, more and more anxiety throughout our day, just from the moment we step out of our door to the moment we walk back into it.
Yes. And don't have to go to the workplace.
Yeah, I mean, and then somehow you got to figure out how to let all of that go so you can get a decent night's rest to go back and do that bullshit again the next day.
Right. And if you're not sleeping well, okay, well that
messes with your health too.
Exactly.
And your mental and physical.
Yeah. I mean, depression. I mean, I've gone through periods. I mean, after that sex call thing, I mean, I went through, that just gutted me. I mean, it was done. That person that was, that was happy to graduate from pharmacy school and stuff. My attitude told me I probably stopped wearing a bra right then. I mean, I used to go in with a nice crisp pants with the little cuffs, and I used to get my pharmacy jacket at the laundromat. I mean, not laundromat, but the dry cleaners. After that, I didn't care no more because they just took some out of me. And maybe it shouldn't have done that, but I just gave up. The only thing that kept me going with my career were the customers that I dealt with, just meeting different people, seeing those old ladies that like, oh, you're a pharmacist. I'm proud. Just even a white man had this white man recently. He was like, I'm giving him a vaccine. He was like, Oh, I know this is going to be a really good vaccine because I know you had it harder in pharmacy school. This white man says this to my face. He knew.
Okay.
He said he even go to a black dentist. He said because he know he's gonna get a better experience because he know when you go through all that crap, you know, then you have to be better. He said that to me. He said, you know, my vaccine was gonna be good, and he said he knows he goes like to a black dentist. Yeah. He said, you know your stuff better be right and tight. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
I mean, but I can say there was a difference in how I received the vaccine when you gave it to me versus when your coworker gave it to me.
I ain't about that. Yeah.
I know, I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I mean, it's just, I mean, just the wear and tear. I mean, just I've gone through so much crap from just my job. I mean, and I don't really go out. So when it comes to outside racism, I don't even care because I just get so much of that crap, you know, doing my 20 years at the job. I'm tapped out. I'm mentally and physically, I'm mentally tapped out. I'm done. I'm just, you know, just trying to get to the, you know, to a point where I'm, you know, fulfilling my purpose and stuff. But from all of this racism, all this stress and stuff, I'm done. I am done. Like you said, the microaggressions, you know, having to deal with people. Like I have technicians I have to look after, you know, manage because the buck comes on me, but I got to deal with because I'm black and I'm a woman. On top of it, they're not going to respect me as much. I have to, you know, and it's a delicate balance. I can't be too aggressive because I'm the angry black woman. I can't be too soft because then the boss is going to get on me and I'm not managing properly. You know, it's like, you know,
you got to find that balance, and
whereas a white
your
person,
counterparts don't have to find that balance.
As a white man, you just come in with your cape on.
Not.
You just come in, you good. I mean, it's automatic. Respect falls in line unless you just a real clown. You know, but as a black person, you know, you just got to do so many juggling acts. It's exhausting. I mean, hearing your story about, you know, your, you know, son and husband missing for like an hour. I mean, that is stressful. Girl, I mean, you could have had a straight up stroke in that hour. You know,
oh yeah,
I'm so serious. I'm so serious though. I mean, that stuff will just put you through the roof. You know, especially if you already work with a foundation of PTSD or a foundation of, you know, race, you know, especially during these days and time with, you know, you just don't know when racism is on the table for sure. You know, that's kind of stuff that's gonna stress people out, but we always have to keep strong, keep going. You know, the diabetes, I mean, it does your immune system, you know, the high blood pressure. I mean, they even said it doesn't even a white person who graduated from high school will still live longer than a black man who graduated from, like, let's say Yale or something. They still will live longer because that black man at Yale, you know, they gone through it, you know, especially back in the day, you know, so it doesn't even matter how much money, it doesn't matter how much education, it boils down to that racism. That's just all to it. And so what is the solution? I mean, the only solution is to manage your symptoms, manage, you know, if you have the diabetes and stuff like that, manage it properly, drink plenty of water. If you have the high blood pressure, take your medications, take more accountability and authority of your own health because
control the things you can control.
Right. And use your, you know, your spirit of discernment or your mindset of discernment, because if you feel like a doctor is not doing you correctly, move on. I
had to leave my doctor for he didn't want to take my neuropathy seriously. What you call it?
That goes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? So
he was we could test for it, but you know,
it's really not in the test. What do you mean they wanted to test you for neuropathy?
He was like, I was showing signs of neuropathy in my leg. And,
which is normal.
And he was like, well, we could do because my toenails had stopped growing.
Okay. Yeah, because of the blood flow, lack of blood flow, not as good.
And I had a lot of tingling and what actually ended up helping me as far as the tingling and the circulation was because remember when I fell? You know, I fell while we were doing the courier service, and I fell and I ended up what do you call it? what's it called? Fractured my tailbone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that was
And they had to
excruciating.
drive.
Right, and so they what call it? I ended up getting a shot of whatever it was,
Cortisone shot.
cortisone. Yeah,
Steroid shot.
in my back, and when that seemed to help me, the symptoms minimized after that. I still deal with it, but it's not anywhere near where it was. And the meds I was taking as well was helping with the neuropathy. Not even though I know there's not a drug in particular you can prescribe for neuropathy, but not you can't just cure it. But so I still have signs of it. Right, but it's definitely more manageable now than it was before.
And that's just, I mean, that's the only reason you feeling better from the neuropathy because you had another issue that was more acute and immediate. And, so instead
I refused to go back to him.
Why?
When they wanted to send me back to my girlfriend, I said, I had already avoided going to that fool. That's why I couldn't get the refill on my metformin. Because he wouldn't refill it without me coming back in. And I was like, no, I need another doctor. I don't want to see him anymore. So I went to a different doctor in the same practice.
So why he didn't want to treat the neuropathy again? I'm so confused because,
because I didn't have insurance.
So because with certain health conditions, the neuropathy is like right there on, and so you didn't have insurance. Like, well, I mean, but first of all, you don't have to test for it. I mean, with certain disease
states, he was doing some of the basic stuff, like running that thing on the bottom of my feet and checking the quality of my toenails and stuff like that. So he saw the problem, because I couldn't feel that thing on the bottom of my foot then, and and of course, if you looked at my toenails at that point, you could clearly see that they were growing wrong or not growing. Like I hadn't had to cut my toenails in 6 months.
Wow.
They're not growing, So he was like, yeah, I mean, he said we could do some further tests, but you don't have insurance. So
I mean, but the point is he didn't give you any medications though. I mean,
he gave me nothing. That was basically the end of the conversation.
But my thing is, what was there to test? I mean, he knows he's your doctor. He knows your condition. He knows with certain conditions, neuropathy is a part of the game plan.
Let me rephrase. He never mentioned neuropathy. I was thinking it, but I never said it. I wanted to see what he was going to say. And at that point, when he never mentioned the word, I was like, now, I did my little Google search. I'm like, I got all the signs of neuropathy here. So why is he not mentioning it? Because my cousin, who's diabetic, had neuropathy. And so he mentioned it to me when I had told him. So I did my little Google search and I was like, okay, all right, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let me see what my doctor says.
That's
never mentioned a word about it.
That's something they should have asked you about. If you have diabetes, that's something that should be like, okay, do you have neuropathy? What is neuropathy? And then he should have been like, okay, these are the symptoms that are you experiencing those? And then you go accordingly. Everyone knows if you're diabetic, you always check the feet. That's that's like standard operating procedure. So
right. Even I knew that because that's why I stopped getting manicures and pedicures at that point because I was like, ooh, all I need is for somebody to cause me to have an infection in one of my cute little toes, and now I'm about to be messing with my toes. So did you say my popcorn toes? So I wasn't playing that game. I kept a careful eye on my feet. That's why I noticed my toenails hadn't grown.
And how long was he your doctor for?
At that point, maybe about year and a half. I started going to him after I found out I was diabetic.
So this is a classic case example. So if you had kept going to him, he wouldn't care if your diabetes was in check. So that would have shortened your he doesn't care. He doesn't. I mean, or if he didn't want to deal with it, at least refer, to a specialist. There are programs, for diabetics that train you how to use the meter or how to give yourself the shot. There's all kind of, resources if he didn't want to deal with, so that was a classic case example of you are a young woman with a typical disease state and he was going to mismanage it. Now, and a lot of people who aren't, in that frame of mind of being on top of their health or, educated to, some people are just very trusting. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. What about if you were really trusting? I mean, he would have just let your, run into the ground and then on to the next. I mean, I just.
This is like I had a doctor when Xavier got sick right after I started working. So my husband took the day off to take him to the doctor since I was literally brand new on the job. So he took him to the doctor, and when I get home, he's got a newspaper article that the doctor gave him on hand, foot, and mouth disease, and it's determined that Xavier has hand, foot, and mouth disease. And I was like, okay. So as I'm reading the article, I'm like, okay, but he doesn't have any of these symptoms except a fever. He has no sores anywhere. So where's he getting hand, foot, and mouth disease? And so I took the next day off. I was like, screw it. I got to take my child to the doctor. So I took him back to the doctor, and she's still sprouting that same BS. And I was like, look, I said, he has no sores on his hands, on the bottom of his feet or in his mouth. I mean, he literally does not have the main symptom for hand, foot, and mouth disease. Where are you getting this from? Well, it's going around right now, but that has nothing to do with the fact that he has none of those symptoms. He has a fever. He is lethargic. There's something wrong with him. I said, did you even do a chest x-ray to see if he had pneumonia? And she was like, well, no. So you just diagnosed him based on what other kids have right now. You didn't diagnose him on his problem? And no. So I said, okay. She was like, well, if he's still suffering, you can bring him back. No, I'm done. And I'm not paying this bill, nor am I paying yesterday's bill either. So you need to take those off my account because you're full of crap. And I ended up taking him to the emergency room, and he had pneumonia.
Something that could have got totally out of check.
Out of control.
For no reason.
And I called her back, and I told her he has pneumonia. Don't send me a bill.
She's like,
they scratched those bills. I was not playing.
Yeah, that's good. And they say it costs to be Black. I mean, I've read articles, and it really does. Like like you went to the doctor like 3 different times. If you were so consumed and not know how to balance, like someone probably like me,
trust your doctor and say, "Oh,
you would have 3 bills than I do." You would have 3 bills. That's you Black, so that costs you extra. A lot of times, if someone didn't care to do it right the first, I mean, and then it's a line where some doctors just suck. I mean, I don't know. From my experience, you have to see your patients as if they're your family, and I've learned that from when I had my open heart surgery, and I had to treat myself basically. It was a point of time where I couldn't walk, and they were telling me to take Benadryl because I had like this intense weird itching. So, and I was like, oh no, I had a lot of surgeries in my leg. What about trying some lyric, some kind of
Did you hear that noise? What was that? No, was that my Bluetooth trying to die on me? Okay, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's like it's some kind of nerve issue, and he said, okay, I'll try it. What do you want to try? What about if I wasn't someone who knew medications and how what
the average Joe Blow?
I mean, I could have been not walking for how long? It's just, so I just don't. Sometimes you just don't. I don't know if I was Black. I mean, I just think it's like a total brain shutdown, But if you relate to someone and then you're more open. If I was maybe a young white woman and I'm concerned if I'm ever going to walk again, maybe he would probably put more mental aptitude and more
effort into trying to figure out what the hell is really wrong,
and instead of telling me to go home and take some freaking Benadryl. Like what? So I mean, I can't. I'm so glad, But imagine how many African minorities rather who don't have that mental aptitude, or like that mother who is stressed out, who's working 2 or 3 jobs, and she finally makes it to the doctor, and she don't know when she's gonna go again, and and then
she gets some BS diagnosis,
and then the medication's not working, so she's like, forget it, and she just keeps working, and it just drops dead. It's just it costs a lot to be Black. It's stressful.
How many doctors do you know that say, I don't know what's wrong with you?
I mean,
they never say that.
I mean, and I really don't think it should be ever that. I think they should. I think they should root it out until they find out, or send you to specials or something until you just figure it out. I just don't think it's such thing as, I just think if you take the time to care and to really hone in on that one person and not see them as just a job, then you can. It's not gonna be. It's nothing to really figure out. But unfortunately, as minorities, we don't have that kind of luxury, and because. Nope. Of other stressors and the other things that we have to factor in, we just don't have that time, or it's just a lot of things just can fall through the cracks, whereas a lot of times if you're not a minority, it gets done right, and it gets done right the first time around. So yeah, I mean, my only solution is, I mean, we cannot do anything about racism because, when there's a problem, you got to call it by its name. And America still, isn't going to admit they have a systemic racism problem. They just not going to do that.
And just like Germany. That, but the reason why, beyond the fact that we're still in denial and not accepting of our past, the other side of that is when you look at all these old pictures of men hanging, women hanging, and what do you see around them? You see families. They had picnics and cookouts and all that kinds of stuff while they watch people. They had displays where they literally would torture slaves in front of children and their parents. And that's what they did for fun. They would come and they had musicians that would play, and and they made it a little whole festival. Yeah. So they were witness to that carnage. But they also were dealing with their parents were people that thought this was okay, so they taught their kids that this was okay. So for those pictures that you see of those kids standing there, watching this, those kids raise more kids. And those kids raise more kids. So it just trickles down.
Oh, yeah.
So it hasn't died out because some of those people are still alive, and they're teaching it to the next generation.
Yeah. I mean, and another thing too, I mean, that's an excellent point. And another thing too is if America has to admit that there's a problem with racism, then they're going to have to eventually pay some money. They know that reparations been floating around forever, even though that's never going to come to pass. But
every group got it, but
yeah. But if you admit to it, and then the next step from there is, okay, what you going to do about it? How you going to financially fix this? So that's why they like keeping us in that spinning cycle of, is it really racism? Oh, well, aren't you glad to be here? It's like always a whole bunch of.
Well, if you don't want to be here, then leave. Where am I going? I don't know where I'm from.
Exactly, and I'm from here actually. So
why
don't you go back?
But yeah, I'm from
you
here.
Go back. Where you going? You ain't from here either. Shoot, so you go back. You don't. They're not gonna call it about what it is. So the only thing you can do is if you have mental health, acknowledge it, understand that of course there's going to be PTSD. I mean, with all of this that's been going on with, people dying, getting shot, we can't really trust the police. We can't trust, because with the politicians, rest assured, if they wanted all this police brutality to stop, it can be stopped tomorrow. They can put things in action. They can get rid of those pensions. They can have people, on death row and but they don't want it to stop. That's why it's still here. They don't want to hold accountability because those are their friends. That's their family members. That's their culture.
Speaking of which, Ahmaud Arbery, they indicted the DA.
Yes.
In that case, I know.
She want to be damned. She want to be like, don't worry about it.
Don't arrest nobody. It's fine.
I mean, just sick.
But the sad part is, y'all indicted her, but how many times has this happened?
And this is the thing too. This is what we have to understand. This is like a side note. I've been how do I say this? I've been guilty of this. I've always seen white women as a casualty of this system.
Sure, bye.
Because women, let me finish. Women. So I won't forget what I was going to say, and then I'll be like the worst person ever.
I'm listening.
Because women are usually loving and nurturing. We see the men as the leaders, but who culture and ideals and morality usually comes. I mean, of course, the man is the covering, but when it comes to that inner working, that comes from your mother. That comes from a woman. So those women, yeah, those women are the ones that were, so my point is, like that woman who was, all these women are protected, and as Black people, especially, I hate to say Black men, they don't want to see it for what it is. They want to, white men, this, white men, and that. No, it's, white people in general who aren't, what they supposed to be.
If you go all the way back to slavery, you had the mistress of the house was just as cruel, if not more so, than the actual slave owner.
Oh yeah.
They raped male slaves. They would either claim rape if they got pregnant and ended up having a Black baby. Now if that baby came out white, they ain't say shit. But but if they had slave babies and they would murder the babies, they would claim they had been raped, or they would keep the baby and enslave the baby as well. They performed surgeries on slaves where they would dismember them. They would cut off parts of their body and think they could just sew it back to another part of their body. They wanted to see what would happen. They ordered beatings. The Daughters of the Confederacy made it a point of whitewashing history to keep us from knowing exactly how cruel slavery really was. That's why it was whitewashed in the books, and they're whitewashing it all over again and really trying to make it seem like they were just unpaid workers. So they're trying to take all of the cruelty out. Even our books that we read when we were in school glazed over what slavery really was about. We didn't get the full understanding.
They don't even teach you nothing now.
Now they're trying to take it all out, and they keep saying that critical race theory is taught in schools, which is not. That is a college course. But they're trying to rephrase it so they can take anything referring to the cruelty of white people out of the books so that there's no white guilt.
Right. Yeah. They want the kids to know and to feel bad and
Right. Exactly. God forbid they should hate themselves, because it's okay for us to hate ourselves.
Right.
It's okay for us to feel less than, but God forbid those poor little white kids. They shouldn't be subjected to what their ancestors did.
I mean, just like Germany, they own up to it. They own up to it. They own up to the Holocaust. They did. Now you have some clowns out there like, what Holocaust? But in general, I mean, they're not gonna have monuments of Hitler hanging around. They're not gonna do that. They've done an actual apology, but America has yet to ever acknowledge anything. They're not going to. So unfortunately, as minorities, we have to. I hate to say, we have to be more accountable. We have to see it for what it is. They don't want to see it for what it is, but we know what it is, and we have to learn how to take care of ourselves. We have to.
And I'm ready to move past the whole reparations conversation. It's never going to happen.
No, it's not. Yeah,
on our lifetimes. It's
not going to happen. No, that is it's just not. We can't even get them to acknowledge it. So I mean, and they're gonna keep us in a spin cycle. I mean, it is sad, like you said, the Japanese got their reparations. I mean, everyone can get reparations. They even look at the Indians and everything. But as Black people, I mean, but part of that we have to blame for ourselves because we can't be cohesive to save our lives. That's not the point. That's another subject. But
that goes back into slavery too.
Yes,
because they were always separating us as far. Even on the slave ships, they didn't want us talking to each other. They didn't want us communicating. They definitely didn't want us speaking our native language. They didn't want us educated. They kept light-skinned Negroes in the house and the dark-skinned Negroes outside. Or
if it's two or three Black people talking, a white person have to be involved later on.
Exactly. So they were very much so keeping people separated and treating certain ones different, and we're still dealing with that colorism today.
Yes,
because we were treated differently based on our skin tone.
Right.
So
yes,
I know our elders were like, yeah, you can't bring home a dark skinned boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood that fear of that child being treated different if they're dark skinned,
Yeah.
wanting the best possible treatment, even though everybody's going to get treated like shit. They're just different
Mhm.
levels of shit.
Yes, it
So
is. Yeah.
let's go for that light skinned baby versus that dark skinned baby and stuff like that. And don't bring nobody home if they're darker in a paper bag, that kind of
Exactly.
thing. So, we're still dealing with that colorism, even if we don't realize it.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, we definitely realize. I mean, it's just, I mean, we just that's just like racism. We ain't gonna do nothing about that, and they can not gonna do anything about racism. But as especially as black women and black men, we just need to be more accountable for our health. We need, if they're not gonna acknowledge racism, we need to acknowledge it. We need to like literally acknowledge it. We need to acknowledge when there is a problem, there is a fallout from it, and the fallout from it is our mental health. Take
Hmm.
care of your mental health. Don't feel guilty. I mean, it's normal to be in fear of what's going on in society right now. It's normal to, when that insidious something just ain't right. That's a normal feeling. And you will have stress from that. So just when you acknowledge something, then you can take care of it. So acknowledge it, take care of your mental health. If you have, and then from there, you maybe won't have the high blood pressure. Maybe the diabetes can be better managed. Maybe you won't have the anxiety, but if you don't acknowledge the foundation of the problem, you can't treat the fallout or the symptoms of the problem. Bottom line, period.
Absolutely.
So we just have
Absolutely.
to
But
acknowledge it.
we have to normalize mental health as well, because it's
Yeah.
still not
Oh yeah.
common for Black folks to seek out mental health.
Yeah, but because we've been told we don't have pain and stuff too, so of course we can't. I mean, and as slaves, I think
But
we were so conditioned as
it's not just that though. You got to think is in the Black community, it's never been you know suggested to us that it's okay for us to have a mental breakdown. It's okay for us to go seek help for that mental health breakdown, or that we experience stress and anxiety that we can't necessarily deal with on our own. We were always told pray about it, take it to God in prayer, and but no one ever said go sit down on somebody's sofa
Mhm,
and talk to a mental health professional. We
mhm.
weren't taught that that's okay. In fact, one of the first things you hear is Black people don't go to the psychiatrist.
But imagine that came from
We don't do
slavery,
that.
though. Imagine that's from slavery. Were we allowed to have moods? Were we allowed to have mental
Absolutely
breakdowns?
not.
That's all from slavery.
Yeah,
We
we weren't
learned
even allowed to mourn our dead children
right,
on a plantation, or the child they stole from us and sold. We weren't allowed
right.
to acknowledge that. So we always had to suck it up and get right back to work.
Right. So that just comes from that. We never could just let our hair down and be human. So all of that mental health and stuff. No, and then we don't. When you dealing with mental health, you want to go with someone that you can relate to. How can you go to a white person when you don't relate to them? Then they can't relate to you, so they don't know how to
Right.
talk to you on your level to understand what you going through. They're gonna give you that gloss over, and then sometimes you come out worse than when you went in. I mean, and if they
Yeah.
have that intrinsic bias that black people really don't feel pain or have issues or feel hurt or feel confusion or anxiety, da 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 da. I mean, because what they probably thinking, they're thinking that we're used to sucking it up. So they
Right.
probably so even them, they will have probably a white patient and be so in tune and looking after them and try to work with them as a black person. They're like, you can do better because you've done it
Right.
for how many
Suck it
generations?
up, buttercup.
Yeah. So, I mean, but if you go to your own people, but that's the thing, we don't have that many people that we can go and relate to. So that's an excellent point. So, for mental health, go to someone. No, I would really highly recommend go to someone that, another minority, because they would really know how to speak, and don't go to like a black person if you're black, because if you go to another, because a lot of times with other minorities, it's they looking down on each other too. So just go to someone that you can relate to, and they can relate to you and give you the treatment or the treatment plan, or give you what you need.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it's just the same thing as when you went for your health care, and he not even acknowledging the basic point of diabetes. I mean, so can you imagine someone's not even acknowledging the basic point of mental health? What that's going to do? That's going to make you more insane. That's
Right.
going to make you more anxiety, have more anxiety. That's going to make you feel like you're weak and, confused,
Or
and it's
that you are
exacerbating the
literally
problem.
losing your mind.
Exactly. And so that literally is going to raise your blood pressure. That's literally going to raise your cortisol levels. You're going to have that extra fat belly from the stress. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. So we
All of
just,
that.
yes, I mean, so we have to really just take some time. We know what the issue is. We know racism does affect your health, or affect. I'm not sure if it's effect or affect, but we know that it does. Shut up. I'm trying to figure it out. Which one is it?
It's affect.
Affect, not
But
E,
then
I, right?
but effects it's like when the title for today or the subject for today, does mental health have an effect on your mental health? Does it have an effect on your mental health?
Is that an E or A?
That's E.
Oh, I did it wrong. Anyway, besides, I kind of wondering. I need to get
But the way
grammar.
we were talking a second ago was affect.
Okay, stop it. Stop. Okay.
I realize I'm not helping. Sorry.
Because it's I guess, yeah, like what? I mean, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I still don't get it. But yeah, so just just take care of health. I'm just not gonna get it. This is one of those things I'm just not gonna get. Okay. And, you see, I keep it real with myself. I just know I ain't gonna know between effect and affect. I'm gonna stress myself out about it. No, but I acknowledge it. I don't know, and I'm gonna keep it pushing. Okay. So we just need to know. We need to take care of ourselves. That's it. No, I'm just saying it, We just need to take care of ourselves. That's just all. We know what it is. We know the fallout from it. And if you have the high blood pressure, take your medications. That's just all to it. Is we want to expand our life, and we want to make it better for the next generations to come, and hopefully shift, the dynamic. So, racism is always going to be there, but how we, handle our community and how we take care of our community and ourselves, that's a different ball game, So, any other last words or anything, hon? This was really stressful. I mean, I didn't think it was. I mean, but just to have to dig in and
because we're traumatized.
Yes.
We are traumatized, and we still have to deal with the trauma in itself, and the fact that we know that it hasn't ended. It's not like something happened, like, oh, you're traumatized because someone shot at you once upon a time. Okay, right. You're traumatized about that. You're still reliving it. And then that trauma is still continuing in some form or fashion in your everyday life. So it's like, where's the escape from it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is the world we live in right now. I mean, all we can do as a community, and that's what we're supposed to do as a community anyway. In every way, with our economics, with just, our relations and stuff like that, we are supposed to build up ourselves as a community. So even with our health, build up ourselves as a community, use each other as resources, always, contact me. I'll be glad to talk and, just help you with resources or whatever needed. We need to build up our community, so things that we cannot control is not much of a factor, and individualize how we can make ourselves better and then build up as a group in the community, like I said. So that's all I got to say about it. So I appreciate. I just, when I have to talk about like work crap, it just really gets me wound up, and I'm
because you're reliving your trauma.
Yeah. I feel really, really tight and everything like that. But if it helps out to let people know that, that's normal, stuff like that, but, we'll live another day. We'll be fine. We'll still laugh, talk, and have a good time,
exactly.
but it's normal. So
if in our own ways.
Yeah. But I'm going to definitely take, my water pills to take down the tension, to pee out this tension, because I'm tense.
Not pee it out. Oh my goodness. Because
it's like a water pill. It's for blood pressure, but it's like a little simple water pill. So, it makes me urinate. So you can feel the pressure just coming out of you. That's, girl, I need that right now. I'm tight. And plus it's Coca-Cola Zero this time, and that really didn't help.
Yeah.
So what you gonna do tonight?
Just drink Mountain Dew. You already know what I'm about to do. Are we still on?
Yeah, we still on.
Oh no, then yeah, I'm going to
I'm,
bed.
I'm gonna play you. I'm like, okay, it's over now.
Oh, I can look in the corner see we still live here.
Oh, I'm so dumb. But either way, but make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. If y'all need any resources or help, just be free to ask. There is a website for men and women. It's called hims.com, and then it's a hers.com. It's a website where you can do a we call it a telehealth visit with a doctor. So you could do it from the comfort of your home. You can sit on your couch. And if you need like any anxiety medications, for depression or anything like that, even for like talked about like hair, male pattern baldness, even for women, weight loss, any kind of stuff, is for us to go to. It's convenient, and they can write it, send you a prescription to whatever pharmacy of your choice. So boom, boom, bam, is done. So this is, as I said, we can't control what's going on out there, but let's, look after ourselves individually and build each other up as in a community, and let's get healthy, and then we can do better for each other. So anyway, Kay, I appreciate your patience as usual, because every time I have that bullshit.
That's what I do. That's what I do.
I was all tight, but you're always so patient and deal with all the drama. And I appreciate y'all watching. On the replay, make sure to put a comment, any questions, and we enjoyed y'all. And take care. Have a good night. See y'all later.
Good night, darling.
Peace.
Peace.